Olympia is going to mark the end of one of the greatest love stories in sport. How are you feeling about the retirement of Valegro, Carl?
It's a difficult one to explain right at the moment because, of course, I see Valegro every day in his work. I see Charlotte riding him. I see him looking fit and healthy. And for us, he's not retiring. He's not leaving the yard. You know, he's still going to be here. It might even give me a bit more opportunity to ride him if I wanted to, and if Charlotte would let me, probably more to the point. But I just know how people are going to feel about him retiring, and I think that's where the emotion's going to come, because you know you're just starting to feel this overwhelming sense that everybody is beginning to feel, you know, for perhaps not going to see him again, and how much he's been adored and how much he's done for dressage around the world, let alone British dressage. And for that reason, you know, I think that's going to make me feel very different when I get there. Right now, it just feels, you know, a week away, like it's going to be another show, and it's all going to be fun. And to see Valegro back out in that atmosphere is going to be great, because he loves the indoor shows. He's always performed brilliantly there. And I know he'll do a great demonstration there, and it's so difficult to watch him looking fit and well and going, because he's still, you know, looking like the gold medalist that he always was. But I just feel that enough is enough. You know, he's been judged enough in his life, very successfully, I might add. But it would just, Charlotte and I both said, you know, actually, you know, even second place would make us feel like he'd started to lose his grip, and he hasn't. So it was her decision at the end of the day. You know, I said, I'll support you if you want to do one more year, or I will support you if you feel you've done enough. And I think Rio absolutely did. He couldn't have gone better. He was beautiful in his test on the last day. And we both felt something really different, and that's why we made the decision at the end.
What is it about Valegro that just makes him so special?
You know, a lot of these top horses have a presence that you can't really explain, and they have an ease of movement in everything he does. He looks happy generally. You know, he has a very uphill expression. He's always got these beautiful eyes on him, and he always goes with his ears pricked, like he's loving every minute of it. And in actual fact, of all the horses we've trained over the years, you know, he has found, you know, he literally skipped his way to Grand Prix. He's been a champion every year, at every level every year. And you hear so many riders describing top horses as being difficult when they were young, or they came through something to become top horses. I mean, Valegro just has been a top horse every day of his life, you know, since he was 4 years old. So there must be something in that has given him this ability to do everything so easily and with so much expression. And because he does it naturally, he's been a very sound and strong horse as well. His conformation is just, you know, perfect for dressage. He's uphill. He's got a massive engine behind from this wonderful activity. And so many judges over the years have talked about, you know, a horse that's evenly matched behind and in front. And Valegro has both of those qualities. His hind legs move with expression, and so does his forelegs. And he's just a perfect model.
You must have some regrets that you handed the ride over.
I don't have any regrets. You know, that question is probably the most asked question that I've had in my career. And I have no regrets, because like everybody else, I love watching him. Unlike everybody else, I'm lucky enough to watch him every day. And I started his career off. I found him, picked him, rode him in the early days. You know, I mean, he's my family as well as Charlotte's, and you know, I've enjoyed watching it, because he has been like a child to me, as has Charlotte. You know, watching them grow and coming from the very bottom to the very top of the sport. It's been hugely exciting for me, and not once have I ever wished it was me. And because I haven't, you know, had that ridden relationship with him. You know, my relationship is from the ground with him and Charlotte. It really hasn't crossed my mind. And I've had lucky enough to have had great horses at the same time as him, not as great as him, but great horses that I've been able to enjoy riding alongside him.
Of all his performances, of all their performances, what has been the pinnacle to you?
I think really some of his freestyles, because they are where he seems to, you know, perform at his absolute peak, because the music gives him a little bit more of a lift. He's a laid-back character. You know, some of the tests he's done sometimes are so good they're almost boring, but when he does the music, it kind of like brings it to light a little bit more. you know, it's exactly how special he is, because when you see some of his movements to the wonderful music that Tom Hunt composed for him over the years, it's really brought it to life. So probably for me, I mean, it would be the freestyle, his very first freestyle from Olympia, which was back in 2011 after his first European Championship. And nobody was more nervous again than me in those days of like, would Charlotte cope, would he cope in these sort of situations? And he just romped through that first music there. And I just remember I taped it, and when I got home, I watched it back off the television, and the commentator said, I think we're possibly looking at an Olympic gold medalist here. And I thought, too right you are. You know, when I watched him on telly, I thought that's exactly what he's going to be. And it was exciting to see him from that performance go on.
Talking of coping, how do you think he'll cope to this new life he's going to lead now without the competition?
His life isn't going to change that much. We'll still ride him. He needs to be kept fit, you know. I mean, basically he'll have less schooling, which he won't worry about at all. You know, as with every horse, you know, the most important thing to Valegro is food, field. Luckily he loves all of that. I mean, that is his, you know, that is his dream. He wants to be, and has always wanted to be, a chunky fat pony, which he has actually got that in him. You can see he's very ponyfied in the way that his character is, in that he does have no stress in his life. And you know, you put him in the field and he just can't wait to get his head down and eat. You know, that is more important than anything else. And we must never forget that. He is a gold medal superstar, but he's also a very normal horse. And Trish Gardner comes and hacks him out twice a week. So, and Alan, and he'll continue to have a normal life, and occasionally we'll take him to do some demonstrations or whatever the public perhaps want to see him do.
Now, we've always talked about this sort of chemistry between Charlotte and Valegro. Have you seen a sort of similar, you know, relationship built up with other horses?
Well, for her, not. I mean, there's one other thing we have to remember here. I mean, Charlotte and Valegro came in at the top, and they haven't actually left the top yet. It's going to be very strange, a strange life for Charlotte, actually, because she hasn't experienced what perhaps the rest of us older competitors have been through, which is the highs and lows of the sport. However, Charlotte is a huge talent, and I'm seeing her on lots of our other horses here every day, and there's certainly a group there that are going to give everybody a bit of a shock, I think.
Charlotte's had the limelight for long enough. You must be looking forward to sort of jockeying her off the top spot.
Well, I did manage to win Olympia last year, which was a huge delight for me and for Nip Tuck. It's always been very difficult. You can imagine having Valegro in the yard. I mean, I've had great horses alongside Valegro, you know, with Utopia and Nip Tuck and Wanadu and some of these other Grand Prix horses, but of course they've not had their chance yet to come and shine, because of course every day, you know, Valegro is the star, is the hero, and is the one taking all the rosettes. So it's actually going to be really nice for the other horses in the yard to step up and actually have their moment and their win. You know, I'm going to miss seeing Charlotte and Valegro like everybody else, so it's not a question of, you know, wanting to remove them so I can win, but I just think it's going to be very nice for, you know, the other horses and their owners as well, who just put as much time and effort into it. And as I've always said, you know, even in Rio this year, when Charlotte and I completed our freestyle tests, the great thing was I was able to say Nip Tuck tried just as hard as Valegro. They're just different types, you know, but it's great to actually finish a competition where you can say both of my horses tried to win a gold medal. The fact is only one can, and of course it's always been Valegro.
Does Charlotte ever try and give you advice?
Oh, every day. Yeah, every day she, you know, like is giving me information all the time, and but that's why we are what we are, you know, and I do think that, you know, despite the fact that we argue a lot and banter a lot, the reality is that, you know, we both want each other to win. It's the attention to detail, because we ride together every day, that's made all the difference to our performances, and that's why I think we've been able to stay at the top for as many years as we have, because we are there as a support for each other, and to improve performances, not try and just beat each other all the time.
Well, between the pair of you, you're definitely game changers.
Thank you very much.